Hello everyone, I am Unique RM Daddy. Today we are going to look at Paginated report. Keeping the theme same from my last video, I'll also demonstrate the Paginated report, the same one which we have seen before. As an added bonus though, I will include how do we enable logging in Power BI Report Builder, a topic which I have not seen being explored as much as we like. So let's get started. In order for us to use Paginated Report, what we need is Paginated Report Builder. It's a different tool, even though the names sound familiar. It's a different tool for Power BI. And the best place we can get it is if we click on this download option and then Paginated Report Builder, which would actually take us to the download page from where we can install it. Once it is installed, we can actually search for Power BI Report Builder, and that would actually launch the Power BI Report Builder. The home screen may look very familiar to those who have worked with Report Builder, but as you see, the title clearly says Power BI Report Builder. In order for us to access the resources which is deployed onto the workspace, we have to make sure that we basically connect to the Power BI, and here I can connect using the account where I have access in order to, let's say, create the paginated report, which requires Power BI Pro subscription as well as the premium subscription in order for us to deploy it. Now, if we want to get started, the first thing which we need to tell Power BI Report Builder is where our data stay. And in this case, my data stays in the same Power BI workspace, and it is a data set. So I could actually right click on it and say add Power BI dataset connection. Here, what you notice is you'll see all the list of workspaces wherein you have access to. And then I can select the sales analysis, which is a demo dataset. And if I select that, you'll see it defines what is the source from where we'll pull the data. But we haven't defined so far how we would go, how we are going to extract the data from that data set. And that's where add a data set would be our logical next step. And I can call this as MNDS, which is basically a definition which is saying how we are going to get the data from this data set. I can use the query designer, which is what Power BI team gives by default to create a query. Since we are extracting the data from a Power BI dataset, we need to define a DAX query. We could use this UI to create a query. As you might have noticed from our final report, what we need is we need maybe the entire hierarchy of product, which contains category, subcategory, and product, as well as I also need, let's say, sales, and from a measure, I may need, let's say, profit. As per the best practices, we should always think about how do we restrict this data. And if we look at the date, we could actually get the year from here. And we can say, I want this year to be a parameter. And if I expand this window a bit, you'll see that there is one section called parameter to mark this as a parameter. And I can expand this and then select FY 2013. At this point, I can hit run to test my query and see if it is producing the same output which I want to display. And then I can click on OK. The order of the column doesn't matter at this point. It's more around generating this query as an output. There is RS custom tax filter. This is something which we'll see in my next video, and we'll talk more about it. When we execute the query, it returns the columns. And at this point, I can click on OK. By default, what you would notice is it shows only the main data set. What happened to the parameter? We said we want parameter in FY 2013, and we can see that there is a parameter which is created after we clicked on OK. And in the available value, we can see it is getting the data from another data set called date year. By default, that data set is hidden. So if I right click on the data set, you'll see that show hidden property, and this is the another data set which is created by Power BI just to populate the years. At this time, I have the data which I want. I want to display the data. So what I can do is I can actually insert a table this way by using insert table, or I could right click on it and choose a table. I can actually keep the table on the top left hand corner, and I can add 2 more columns. Since it's a paginated report and there is a concept of a page, we have to be sure we are using our space appropriately. And if I select sales and profit, I can add them here, and I can at this time make sure that I align this with the table size, reduce the size, make sure that it is actually not adding some extra spaces which makes our report look not that great. So we can probably squeeze these spaces, and in order for us to add a header, I can add a header. Again, for header as well, you can insert a table or a text box, and I can say this is my year sales, and I can year sales report, I can call it, that would be better. And I can size the table to fit this space and resize it a bit, and then keep this one also on the top, resize this a bit. I can then make it center and middle. I could also see this formatting property, which is where I can change its font a bit. I can extend this font, and I can say that, hey, I want this one to be maybe 12 points. And same for the header, I could say I want the background of the header to be aqua, and let's say the font again to be 11, and the data to be, let's say, 9 points. This column, which is sales, I could actually format it by saying that this will be currency. And as we set it to currency, automatically it will be formatted with a 2 decimal point and a dollar sign will be added. Now, at this point, I am good with my report. And just to test my report, I can click on run, and we will see the report works as we expect. Apart from the fact that we also wanted the alternate row to show a different color. So I can select this row, and you'd notice that previously we selected this background color and we changed that background color. If we click on that, we will see also expression. This is where I can say that the color property of the background can be changed through an expression. So I can actually write an IF statement, and I can use a function called row number. Row number by default gives me the row number of a group, but in this case there is no group, so I actually said nothing. And what I want is light blue to be there for all the even, whereas all the odd lines should be white as the background. And if I select that, and if I click on OK, and if I hit run again, let's see that the alternate rows is set to the color which we want. At this point, I also may want this selection of user to show up here, like what year he has selected. So I could actually see that the same expression is also available for the header or for the text box. At this time, I can concatenate that with the parameter which is selected and which is date year. I could add a space just to make sure we add some space here. And this time you'd see that it shows exactly like what you see in the background. Now, before I go into publishing it onto the Power BI service, one thing which I wanted to talk about was how do we enable the logging for Power BI Report Builder? And there are situations wherein you may want to do that. And to do that, we have to go into the C drive and users. And since I'm using demo account, you'll see demo admin is the account. Within that, we'll find app data. By default, this folder is hidden, so you may have to go into view and select this hidden item in order to see this. Then local, then Microsoft, and then within Microsoft, you'll find Power BI Report Builder, and then 15.6. This is where you'll find user.config. If I edit this one into Notepad, you'll find that there is this logging trace level, which is set to info, and I can change that to verbose, and I can save this file, and I can close this just to be double sure that that has made effect and the change has been done. I can see that tracing level is changed to verbose. I can minimize this. In order for us to have that effect of change, I will have to save this and reopen it or relaunch the report builder. I can save it as my first paginated report. I can say, yeah, I want to replace it. I can close it. I can relaunch it by going to Power BI report builder. As you can see, it was right there on the top menu or top apps. Now here I can click on open saved report and select my first report. Now, if I preview this report one more time so that it generates a log, we can actually then go back to the same folder where we saw the log. There is another folder called traces. Within traces, you'll find this Power BI report builder. I can use Notepad++ to open it. And at this time, if I go toward the end of the file, I could actually see these messages. And these messages are actually what I was saying we need to see. As an example, we can see at the very top that the connection was established, and then it was using Power BI dataset, and then we can then further see that how much queries time was spent. And overall, by looking at this, we could actually get to know more information about what is Power BI doing in general, and Power BI Report Builder in specific, what are they doing. And sometimes it is essential because, let's say, if a query is taking longer, we don't know unless we look at that. And that's the same problem which I was into this week. So I thought I will blog this. So that's about for today. The last thing which I forgot is publishing, which is if we go to File, Publish, you will see you have to select the workspace where you want to publish and the name of the file you want to give it. And I can call it demo and I can publish it. And at this time, that demo file should be existing into my Power BI workspace, and I can open it. And if we allow it a few seconds, you'd see that the report would be shown to us. Now there is more customization which you can do, and I'm hoping to create another video which basically demonstrate optional parameter and what challenges does DAX produces and the designer produces to us, and how do we work around it. So that's about for today. Please let me know if you like my videos and please subscribe. See you next time.